Ladies and gents, Casual Gaming Dad here, and today I wanted to give my overall thoughts, my experience, and my feedback from this past weekend for the server slam for Diablo 4. Also, today I'm going to be creating another video, and it's going to be regarding the Druid specifically, so keep an eye out for that to come out later this week. With that being said, let's get into it. So you'll see here in the background, this is just a recording of me playing on the server slam when it first dropped. There's the Druid, of course. But I want to just give my overall impressions, like I said, what was different about it compared to previous betas that we had, as well as how I felt about some of the changes they made, things like the drop rates for the legendaries, lots of people were talking about, as well as the classes that I played. I'll tell you a little bit about the ones that I did and also what I saw from others about the classes I didn't. So, first things first, I played the Druid, the Sorceress, and the Necromancer. I got all three to level 20. It took me about a few hours, I'd say about 3 hours for each, for the most part, give or take a little bit. I did play the Druid eventually with a friend, so that made the experience a little bit smoother. But first thing I noticed was there were no server queues, none throughout the entire weekend. I played on each day. I didn't really play Sunday. Actually, I didn't play Sunday. Sunday it closed by noon, and it's Mother's Day, and we were doing other activities. So I didn't play then, but I did play quite a bit on Friday, and I played a very good amount as well. Maybe just a little bit less on Saturday, but enough to get 3 characters to 20. And no server queues at all. Now, I don't know if this is because they buffed up their servers, which I imagine they did. They said they wanted us to slam the servers, right? They wanted to give their servers a test. So I think it's a combination of that, and also likely that maybe there was less people initially on the beta. I know most of the people that are really excited about this game were on it, so I'm sure there was still a lot of people. There was some rubber banding from time to time when I was, for example, leaving a town and then so exiting and going out into the open world. I would get some rubber banding. I'd have to go kind of back into the town and then come back out to be able to get past it. So it happened, I think, 2 or 3 times. That was a little bit annoying. Additionally, I noticed that when I opened up my map or my skill tree, actually mostly the map, especially on Friday, those first few hours, when I'd open up my map and I would exit it, there would be 2 or 3 seconds of excessive choppiness until I felt like I had better control over my character again. So that was also a bit annoying, to say the least. Otherwise, I have a 3080 Ti, pretty good PC that I bought last year, and it ran everything at ultra settings, max settings, and everything else looked great. I thought overall, compared to the previous betas, things did run better. So they ran better for sure. And also, like I said, there were no queues, so that was nice. Although I expect on release there'll definitely be a lot of people. I would genuinely be a little bit shocked if there were no queues. But so there's that out of the way. My level experience was great. I didn't even have to finish the entirety of Act 1 all the way to the very, very end story-wise to get to 20. I was doing a lot of side quests. I feel like it went smoother because I had done it before, so I kind of knew where to look for quests, and, for that reason I didn't have to do that to get to 20. Anything else I want to say about that? I don't write scripts for these, so, no, I don't think so. I think that is pretty much all I wanted to say about that. Oh, let me talk about Ashava really quick. Talk about Ashava. Ashava was actually pretty tough at level 20. I didn't fight Ashava in the previous betas, and the reason why I didn't was because when I went back to when I was at BlizzCon in 2019, when they announced the game, we had an opportunity to play the Druid, the Sorceress, and the Barbarian. And Ashava was also there, and I don't remember what the level cap was. I felt like it was 15. I felt like it was a bit lower, and we were able to fight Ashava, and we were able to beat her. And I don't remember her being that difficult. I didn't find really a reason for me to try it again, so I didn't. I didn't battle her in the last beta. But since there was a little bit of an incentive this time around, I did decide to give that an attempt. I was ready to go for the first spawn of Ashava Saturday at 9 a.m. PST, and got her down to about 1.5 ticks of life. Didn't get it. Then I dropped to World Tier 1 for the second round. Same thing happened. Still didn't get her. And then the third round, finally, I was there for that. And we beat her very easily. We had about 7 minutes left out of the 15. So, much better team for sure. I was a bit more geared as well. And that's a great transition to talking about gear, right? So anyways, overall, Ashava is a pretty interesting fight. If you're underleveled, it's going to be tough. So that was a nice little challenge. So definitely get the trophy out of it. But let's talk about gear. So when I leveled my druid from 0 to 20, 1 to 20, I should say, I didn't find a single legendary drop. Now, everyone has different feelings about this and whatnot. My overall feelings were that was fine. I'm perfectly okay with legendaries being harder to find, especially compared to, Diablo 3 and Diablo 2, where, the drop rates are much smaller. In Diablo 2, it gets a bit better once you have things like Magic Find and you have really good clear speed. You're going to find, a lot more uniques that drop. In Diablo 3, legendaries were just way too easy to find, way too easy to drop. It just almost never felt good when they actually dropped. There was nothing to really get excited about, whereas I found myself getting excited when I did find legendaries in this game. Now, that being said, when I played with the sorceress to level 20, I found one legendary. When I was close to level cap, we beat some very difficult, my friend and I, they were like legendary type monsters, like elites out in the world. It was almost like a little quest, like a special quest. There was a set of 3 of them, and we defeated them, and I did get one, which it was an okay legendary. But I mean, I do remember feeling very excited to see the drop, and just not knowing whether it was going to be good for me or relevant, or oh, you know what, this helps this skill, maybe I should try this skill out more, so I really like that. That's the type of feeling I want to have when I find a legendary, so that was great. For me, I think the lower drop rates are good. I mean, of course, there's going to be a balance, but again, this is early game, and I'll share something with you about how I ended up finding a lot more legendaries, and by a lot more, I mean about 20. I'll tell you how that happened, but before I get into that, again, the Necromancer, level 0 to 20, didn't find any either. So 3 characters to 20, I found 1 legendary, so they're definitely pretty rare. I'd say that, it's probably not going to drop off regular spawns nearly as much. You're probably going to have to kill elites, maybe at higher levels and higher world tiers. And I was playing World Tier 2. Which, by the way, I was playing that the whole time, other than when we killed the Shava. And so, I'm okay with this. Again, people can have different feelings about it. A lot of people say, oh, this sucks, can't find any legendaries. It's like, well, they wanted to show us what the drop rate was going to be like. And I think that it's perfectly fair. I even used all of my obols to roll off and try and get legendaries. Nope, not a single one. None. So what about this 20 that I'm talking about? How did I find that? Well, Rax, if you don't know who he is, Rax, just Rax. I just call him Rax. Rax posted a video about one of these strongholds north of Kyovashad, that the monsters were level 30, and so the strongholds of monsters are typically going to be higher level than what you are. The monsters were level 30, and he posted a video where he showed, hey, if you guys want to find lots of legendaries, go to this place, Core Dagar or Dagon, something like that, and you don't have to kill the creatures. Just go to the stronghold and loot corpses there. They have a bunch of corpses in designated areas. Loot the corpses and keep doing that until legendaries drop, and then just pick them up, leave the game, and then come back and it resets. And so I did that for about an hour, and I found 20 legendaries in an hour. Now, with that being said, I found 20 legendaries. This was on my sorceress. Only 4 of them were equipable, and the reason for that is because the other 16 were level 21 or level 22 requirements, so I couldn't use them. But I was able to see them, and what I saw was very interesting, and I wanted to share that. So, unfortunately, the service time's over. I can't show them to you, right? And I ended up scrapping them anyways for materials. But what I found was very interesting. Sometimes I'd find duplicates of items, but the legendary powers were different. So I thought that was really interesting. And I think I only found, out of the 20, I found 1 duplicate legendary. So let's think about that again. 1 duplicate out of 20. So I found a lot, and I found duplicates of legend, like they looked visually like transmogs the same. They were the same item slot, but they were different powers. So I found a couple of those, I think, but almost none were duplicates. I thought that was really interesting. I said, wow, there's definitely a good healthy amount of legendary. And remember, this is only to level 20. Like, disclaimer, maybe I should have said that in the beginning. This is only to level 20, so a lot of this feedback I'm giving you, there's so much we still don't know, right? It's only level 20. I mean, technically, you get skill points up to level 50, and after that it's Paragon, right? So, very, very low percentage of duplicate legendaries, and I think that that's something really worth noting, right? I saw a lot of really interesting powers that made me really want to try out different skills and try different build combinations, So for me, that was that's very exciting. So I think that it seems like they've done a pretty good job with that. Okay, so what about the Necromancer? Let's talk about the Necromancer, because a lot of people were complaining about what they did to the summons. And I will say that, yes, it's very noticeable what they did to the summons. They felt very, very, very fragile, very brittle. Basically not really worth using, which was unfortunate. However, before the end of the server slam, and I didn't get a chance to test this, but before the end, they stated that they were rolling out a hot fix to kind of bring that back a little bit, because they went from being very difficult to take down to almost every battle, even with just trash mobs, they were getting knocked out, So I think they probably need to put it somewhere in the middle, especially because I feel the Necromancer's mobility is really low. So just why not let him be powerful and have that, The Corpse Explosion was, I felt, still pretty good. It was still very strong. But his bone skills were quite good. I mean, Bone Spear was really strong. Bone Spear literally carried me through everything. I just used Bone Spike, Bone Spear, Corpse Explosion. I had other skills too. I tried to Crepify and that sort of thing. But Bone Spear carried me the entire way. I mean, it just did. It was that good. So, is the Necromancer weak? No. What I did was I sacrificed my skeletons and my skull. I tried the skeletal mages too, but they also would die, even though they were ranged. So I ended up just sacrificing them for more power, and I leveled to 20, no problem whatsoever. I don't think I had a single death there. So yeah, I think that if they can work out that kink with the summons, they can give us some where they're a little bit better than what they are, and it seems like they might have. And to me, these are minor issues, because it's just it's all it takes is, it doesn't take a lot of dev time to tweak these things. So for me, it really wasn't a big deal. I really wasn't that concerned. I just wanted to know how the class felt, and the Necromancer still felt really good, felt really strong. Okay, so I'm gonna save my thoughts on the Druid for when I make that Druid video. So I'm gonna gloss over that if you don't mind. The Barbarian. I didn't play it myself this time. but I saw Rax playing it. Rax leveled all 5 characters to 20, and then he was speedrunning with various characters, and one of them he was speedrunning with was the Barbarian, and he kept laughing and complaining about how weak the Barbarian was early on. It was just so incredibly weak, you know. So, but again, it's just early on. These things don't matter that much, okay? Because once you unlock, your power with the arsenal system, I believe at 15 it is. I mean, the class just really opens up a lot more. Did they nerf things like upheaval and whatnot? Yes, they did. All the classes got nerfed in some way, although it seems the rogue took the lightest hit. So the Twisting Blades rogue was still really, really strong. And yeah. So overall, I don't think the nerfs didn't feel like I don't recall feeling a lot weaker in any sense other than the Necro Summons. Yes, those were, again, very notable. Other than that, the Sorceress, I used Chain Lightning still, even though it got nerfed. I used Hydras, even though it got nerfed. I honestly, I didn't feel weak at all. At leveling, when I fought a Shava, I used Firewall. Rax suggested that for burning, which I liked the fire, so I was willing to try it, and it worked out really well. Honestly, it was really good. I was using the Hydras, I was using the Chain Lightning, I used the Firewall when I spec'd away to fire. I was using the Fire Bolt. I used also the Lightning melee attack initially leveling up. So I didn't really feel weaker. I don't think these nerfs, I don't think they're going to make the game less enjoyable. I didn't get that feeling when I was playing. And look, it's just my thoughts. This is just my experience, right? But I had a lot of fun playing. I really did. And I think that's really what matters the most at the end of the day, is that, and that was just the first act, so we were doing a lot of repetitive stuff and whatnot. But even though I was doing that, I still had a lot of fun. I wish I could be playing right now. I wish I could have played some more. I wish I could have leveled up all 5 to 20. I just really didn't have the time to do that, and just kind of get that experience with that a bit more. But yeah, so overall, it was definitely fun. It was enjoyable. I think the drop rates are acceptable. I think it should be difficult to find powerful items. I think that the stability was a lot better. The first few hours had those. You can see some of this rubber banding here in the video I had a little bit from time to time. There were no queues, so I hope, but I expect the game's going to be really popular on release, despite the what seems to me the vocal minority seems to be complaining about the game and whatnot. Well, then they won't play, and that's fine. You certainly don't have to play on release. I mean, I pre-ordered the game, but I have the $70 version, so I'm most likely, unless for some reason I decide, unless I just really feel strong about playing the game a few days earlier, but I'm not going to fork up the extra 20. I'm not planning to at this time. But, it was a lot of fun. The game's fun. We don't know enough about the end game. We know, but we don't know what it looks like, how it feels. I mean, Riker got to try it. He told us a little bit about it. He seemed pretty, cautiously optimistic, pretty excited about it. So there's still a lot we haven't experienced. And also, we don't know how the higher world tiers are going to affect, our drop rates as well, tiers 3 and 4, for legendaries. For me, it felt like there was just so many different builds to try out and so many different play styles that can accommodate what you want. And the fantasies just felt really good. Felt really, really good. All 3 characters I played felt really good to play, honestly. And again, I'll go more into this in another video, but even though the Druid, there's that meme from Rax going around about the 17 damage, even though there's that going on, which I find hilarious, the Druid, it felt great. It felt good to me. It didn't matter that it was weaker on paper. It didn't matter. It really didn't. So, anyways, those are my overall thoughts. Again, casual gamer here. That's my perspective. So I wanted to share that with y'all, and hopefully some of you find this helpful. Stay tuned for my video about the Druid. I think it'll be an interesting one. Otherwise, like, subscribe if you're interested, and otherwise, let me know what you thought. Tell me what your thoughts about this Server Slam were if you played it, or did you have fun? How does it make you feel about the game? Are you planning to play the game on release? I know I am. And if you are, then I'll see you in hell. All right. Take care for now. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.